Most engines don't break down from age. They fail because you followed bad maintenance advice. Those factory service schedules are designed to sell cars, not keep them running. That's why some engines die at 130,000 miles, while others push past 500,000 without needing a rebuild. In this video, I'll break down 17 proven habits that will make your car last over 500,000 miles without any repairs. Let's get started. Habit number 17. Stick to the 5K oil rule. If you're sticking to the factory oil change interval, you're already putting your engine at risk. That 10,000 mile or once a year guideline isn't about engine longevity, it's about marketing. Automakers want their vehicles to seem low maintenance on paper to boost sales, not to keep your engine alive for the long term. Ask any veteran mechanic and they'll tell you, most engines last longer with fresh oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. This is especially true if you take short trips, get stuck in traffic often, or live in a hot or dusty area. Stretching oil changes doesn't save you money. It slowly destroys your engine from the inside out. Sludge begins to form, metal-on-metal wear kicks in, and you might not notice it today, but 5 years down the line, your timing chain, VVT system, and cam phasers will start failing. Always check your owner's manual or a trusted mechanic for the right oil type. Synthetic for newer vehicles and conventional for older ones. Always replace the filter every time you change the oil. Without exception. Don't go with cheap $2 filters. Stick with OEM filters. And if your oil looks dark, don't wait. Change it immediately. Want to see 500,000 miles without a rebuild? Forget the factory schedule and trust real-world mechanics. And if you think oil is the only fluid they've misled you on, just wait until we get to the transmission. Habit number 16. Change your transmission fluid. Here's what the manufacturers won't tell you. Waiting until your transmission slips before swapping fluid is like waiting for chest pain before cutting back on junk food. By then, it's too late. Automakers love to call it lifetime fluid. But whose lifetime are they talking about? Certainly not your car's. That's just marketing talk to make the vehicle seem maintenance-free. Meanwhile, every shift is heating that fluid, breaking it down, and loading it with debris. And the scary part, it hides it well enough. The fluid may still look red and smell fine, but deep inside, it's full of friction dust and metal shavings. At that point, it's not protecting your transmission, it's destroying it. Once slipping begins, it's way too late, and you're staring down a $4,000 plus repair bill. The solution? Drain and refill every 60,000 miles. For hybrids, maybe stretch to 90,000, but no more. And never flush a system that's never been serviced. Just drain it and move forward. And always stick with OEM fluid, not cheap universal blends. Toyota WS for Toyotas. Honda ATFDW1 for Hondas. Mixing in generic fluid. Huge mistake. It might seem fine short-term, but long-term it leads to overheating, slipping, and complete failure. If your shifts feel rough, don't delay. Change the fluid now, because next time your transmission might not shift at all. And if you think that's bad, just wait until you find out what old coolant does to your engine block. Habit number 15. Coolant reset. Coolant isn't permanent, and it's not something you swap only when you remember. Ignore it, and the next hot day could be the last for your engine. Here's what happens as time passes. Coolant turns acidic. Not just dirty, but corrosive. It eats away at your water pump, breaks down seals, and clogs the heater core. And the worst part? It creeps up without warning. You'll notice a sweet smell, see white smoke, and maybe even keep topping off the reservoir as it keeps going low. That's no mystery. It's the early sign of a blown head gasket, and a simple flush could have stopped it. I've seen engines ruined over a $70 service that was put off too long. Don't be that driver. Flush your coolant every 3 to 5 years and only use the type your manufacturer specifies. No mixing colors, no universal jugs. Red means red. Blue means blue. Put in the wrong one and your cooling system turns into sludge. Want a tip that can drop your engine temps by up to 10 degrees on scorching days? Stick around, I'll show you in a minute. But first, let's deal with the habit that silently wrecks your engine from the inside. Habit number 14. Timing belt replacement date. Let me be clear, your owner's manual is written to protect the warranty, not your bank account. It might claim 100,000 miles or 10 years, but ask any mechanic and they'll say that's pushing it too far. By 60,000 to 80,000 miles, most timing belts are already cracking from heat, oil leaks, and stress on the tension system, especially on older engines or ones with poor cooling. And here's what many drivers don't realize. Timing belts age even when the car barely moves. I've seen belts snap in traffic after 7 years with only 40,000 miles on them. No noise, no warning. When it breaks, pistons and valves collide, and your engine loses. Want to avoid a $4,000 repair? Get your belt inspected at 60,000 miles. If it looks dry, shiny, or cracked, replace it. And when you do, swap out the tensioner, idler pulley, and water pump at the same time. They wear together, and skipping them means you'll just pay for the job twice. If your belt hides behind a cover, have it checked during oil changes or major services. Don't wait for symptoms. Timing belts don't squeak, they break. And when they break, it's game over. The next component wears just as hard, and ignoring it could wipe out everything you just fixed. Habit number 13. Choose premium spark plugs. Worn-out spark plugs destroy engines. It starts with a weak spark, then poor combustion, misfires, and raw fuel burning out your catalytic converter. I've seen $60 worth of bad plugs turn into $3,000 in repairs. Those so-called 100,000-mile plugs rarely make it past 60,000, especially in turbocharged engines or direct injection setups where carbon buildup is worse. Short trips, stop-and-go driving, and cheap gas only speed it up. Want your car to last? Stick with premium plugs. NGK Iridium 9 or Laser Iridium are best for Japanese cars. Denso Iridium TT is a solid pick for hybrids and imports. Bosch Double Iridium is the go-to for European vehicles. And for Fords and GMs, Motorcraft or AC Delco OEM plugs are the only safe choice. Avoid copper plugs unless your vehicle specifically requires them, and never grab the bargain bin stuff. Always check plugs for signs of oil or coolant leaks. If the tip is wet or crusted, the issue isn't just the plug, it's a leak. Replacing plugs every 60,000 to 70,000 miles can save you thousands. Cheap out here and your engine will pay the price. And if you're looking to bring back lost power or smooth out your engine without tearing it apart, I've got a full video breaking it down. Tap the card on screen to check it out. It'll make your engine run like new again. Habit number 12. Install a new fuel filter. Your fuel filter has one purpose: to keep dirt and debris out of your engine. But once it clogs, it does the exact opposite. I've seen filters so packed with grime they look like coffee sludge. And that buildup doesn't just restrict fuel flow. It burns out fuel pumps, clogs injectors, and kills your gas mileage. The scary thing is you might not notice until the car hesitates on startup, misfires, or stalls under load. And by then, the damage had already begun spreading. Most vehicles need a new filter every 30,000 to 60,000 miles. But if you drive in dusty conditions, tow heavy loads, or use low-quality gas, you'll need to change it sooner. Always stick to OEM or trusted brands, Bosch, Motorcraft, or AC Delco. Cheap off-brand filters can break down from ethanol and shed fibers into your fuel system. And never believe a mechanic who says, "We blew it out, it's fine." That's just laziness. Replace it. Want smoother power, cleaner combustion, and a fuel pump that lasts beyond 100,000 miles? Change your filter on time. And speaking of fluids, most drivers forget their brake system has one that's aging faster than they realize. Habit number 11. Change brake fluid every 2 to 3 years. How does brake fluid keep your car from ever reaching 300,000 or even 500,000 miles? Easy. If you can't stop safely, you won't be driving it that long. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it quietly absorbs water year after year. After 7 to 10 years, it can hold enough moisture to drop its boiling point by more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Fresh .3 fluid boils around 401 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 can reach 446 degrees Fahrenheit. But once contaminated with moisture, that number can fall to 280 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower. That's low enough to boil under hard braking. When it boils, air bubbles form, giving you a soft pedal and no stopping power. That's not just unsafe, it's a deal breaker for long-term reliability. The solution? Pick up a $20 brake fluid tester. Dip it in, press a button, and if it shows more than 3% moisture, flush the system. No guessing, no waiting until the brakes fail. Flush it every 2 to 3 years and always use the exact type your car requires. DOT3, 4, or 5.1. Next up, your differential. It might not be leaking yet, but it's slowly grinding itself apart. Habit number 10. Gearbox protection habit. The transfer case and differential are two of the most overlooked parts of your car, and also some of the most overworked. The differential allows your wheels to rotate at different speeds in corners. The transfer case splits power between the front and rear axles in 4-wheel drive and all-wheel drive setups. Both rely on thick gear oil to stay lubricated and protected under load, but as time passes, that fluid breaks down. It collects metal particles, turns sludgy, and starts tearing up gears and bearings. I've heard differentials howl for months before finally locking up. At that stage, it's done, and the repair cost is huge. Here's how you prevent it. Look up the fluid type and service interval in your owner's manual. Take the car for a short drive to warm to thin the fluid. Always remove the fill plug first, then the drain plug, and let it drain completely. Clean the magnetic tip before refilling. Top it off only with the exact spec gear oil. No substitutes. Fill until it just begins to trickle from the fill port. Replace it every 30,000 to 50,000 miles if you tow, off-road, or run AWD frequently. Skip this and you won't just be paying for service, you'll be paying for a tow. Next up, one small part that regulates airflow and pressure but silently wrecks engines if ignored. Habit number 9, swap the PCV valve. This valve manages the internal pressure inside your motor. When it fails, pressure builds, seals blow out, and oil starts vanishing quickly. I've seen engines consume a quart every 1,000 miles just from this little piece. No check engine light will warn you. You'll just keep adding oil and wondering where it's going. Let it go too long and it'll blow a gasket, leaving you with a $1,200 leak to repair. Most PCV valves last 30,000 to 50,000 miles, but check it sooner if you see smoke, oil loss, or rough idle. Replacement is easy. Twist it out near the valve cover, snap in a new one, and inspect the hose while you're at it. Cost, around $10 to $20. A 5-minute fix that can save your entire engine from suffocating itself. And since we're on airflow, there's one small sensor that regulates how your engine breathes. Habit number 8, clean your MAF sensor. If your car feels sluggish, idles rough, or drinks more gas than normal, chances are the MAF sensor is dirty, not broken. It sits by the air filter box and measures how much air the engine is pulling in. When dust or oil coats its wires, the readings get thrown off and the fuel-to-air mix goes bad. Look out for these signs: hesitation, reduced MPG, shaky idle, rough starts, or codes like P0101 and P0104. Before swapping it out, try cleaning it. Take the sensor off, unplug the connector, and spray it with CRCMAF sensor cleaner. Use nothing else. Never touch the wires. Let it dry fully in open air, then reinstall. Want proof it helped? Hook up an OBD2 scanner and compare airflow grams per second before and after. Clean it every 12,000 to 15,000 miles or sooner if you run oiled filters. This $10 job can restore power, steady your idle, and cut fuel use instantly. And if that just saved you a shop visit, support the channel. Hit subscribe. It's cheaper than a mechanic and a lot less greasy. Habit number 7. Align your wheels every 10,000 miles. Most owners' manuals won't bring up alignment until it's far too late. They'll suggest 12,000 miles or more. Skip that. By then, the edges of your tires are already worn down. My rule? Whenever you rotate your tires, check the alignment too. That's every 6,000 miles, every oil change, especially if you drive rough roads or hit potholes. Watch for warning signs, uneven tire wear, steering wheel sitting off center, or your car drifting left or right. Don't brush it off. Just one wrong angle and your tires wear out 30% quicker. Your fuel mileage drops, suspension takes extra abuse, and no, you can't do it yourself at home. It takes a rack, lasers, and a skilled technician. It's not cheap, but it's a whole lot less than buying 4 new tires and a control arm at 80,000 miles. And we're only warming up, because cold revving does more harm than most people realize. And most manuals don't even warn you about it. Habit number 6. Skip revving on a cold start. Revving a cold engine is one of the quickest ways to destroy it. And no, it doesn't warm things up quicker. That's a myth. When the engine's cold, oil is thick and sits in the bottom. Hitting the throttle before oil reaches the top means metal grinding on metal at high speed. That's how pistons wear, bearings get scored, and turbo seals fail. The right move? Start the car and let it idle for no more than 30 seconds. That's enough to build oil pressure. Then drive gently. Keep RPMs under 3,000 until the temperature gauge begins to climb. If the blue light's still showing, the engine isn't warm yet. This rule is even more critical if you drive a turbo. Cold oil and boost don't mix. Skip this and you won't just lose performance. You'll cut years off your engine's life. Up next, idling. Most drivers assume it's harmless. It's not. Let's break that down. Habit number 5. Avoid long idling. Letting your car sit running while parked might seem harmless, but it's slowly wearing the engine down. At idle, oil pressure drops, not low enough to set off a warning light, but just enough to starve top-end parts like lifters, cams, and valve seals. Over time, light ticking becomes heavy knocking. That's $1,500 or more in repairs just from warming it up. And while you're sitting with the AC blasting or checking your phone, the engine's burning rich. That means raw fuel coats the cylinder walls, washes away oil, and creates carbon buildup inside the intake. On direct injection motors, that buildup doesn't burn off. It turns into a $700 to $1,200 cleaning bill later. Here's what not to do. Don't idle 10 minutes in winter just to melt your coffee. Don't sit parked with the AC cranked for half an hour while scrolling TikTok. Don't think remote start is a free pass. Start the car, wait 45 to 60 seconds, then drive easy. That warms everything faster and safer without choking your motor in its own fumes. And if you're idling right now while watching this, shut it down. It's doing more harm than good. Habit number 4. Wash the undercarriage frequently. Just because you don't see rust doesn't mean it's not eating away under your vehicle. That winter slush isn't just dirty, it's salty and corrosive. And mud? That's moisture-packed grit sticking to metal and holding water in all the worst spots. Brake lines, fuel lines, control arms, frame rails, I've watched them all rot out in under 5 years. One customer's rear subframe snapped clean in half. The cause? Salt buildup and 0 undercarriage washes. The top of the car looked spotless, but underneath it was crumbling. If you live where it snows, rinse the underbody once a month during winter. Near the coast, salt air and sand are just as destructive. Wash it often, even in good weather. Drive dirt roads? Same problem. And no, a drive-through wash with rainbow foam doesn't count unless it sprays the frame and wheel wells. You're not just rinsing grime, you're fighting rust that could kill your car 200,000 miles too early. And speaking of hidden damage, let's stay under the hood. Because if you haven't checked your serpentine belt lately, there's a good chance it's already cracking and closer to snapping than you think. Habit number 3. Change your serpentine belt before it snaps. The serpentine belt drives nearly everything. Your alternator, power steering pump, AC compressor, and in many cars, even the water pump. When it fails, you don't just lose AC. You lose charging, steering assist, and engine cooling all at once. I've seen cars overheat within 2 minutes of a belt failure, warping the head gasket and costing thousands. Here's the thing. Serpentine belts rarely just snap out of nowhere. They warn you first. Look for cracks across the ribs, fraying edges, glazing that makes it shiny, or squeals when you start the engine. Most last 60,000 to 100,000 miles depending on climate, but that's not a guarantee. If your tensioner's weak or a pulley seizes, that new belt will fail early too. So when you replace the belt, inspect the tensioner and pulleys at the same time. A $40 belt and 30 minutes of work can save your cooling system, battery, and steering from being taken out in one shot. Habit number 2. Protect your wheel bearings. Wheel bearings are one of those parts you forget about until they fail. And when they do, it's ugly. A failing bearing doesn't just hum. It can seize up mid-drive, lock a wheel, and shred your hub and axle. I've seen cars towed in with the wheel tilted at a 30-degree angle because the bearing collapsed completely. Salt, water, and rough roads eat away at the seals, letting grit in and grease out. Once it starts growling, every mile makes it worse. Pay attention to the signs: a low growl that changes when you steer, a vibration through the wheel, or uneven tire wear. Don't wait for it to grenade. On older cars with serviceable bearings, clean and repack them with grease every 30,000 miles. On modern cars with sealed units, replacement is the only option, but do it at the first noise. It's not cheap, but it's far less painful than replacing a whole hub and axle after it seizes. Habit number 1. Log your maintenance in a notebook or app. Think you'll recall the last time you swapped the oil, changed the brake pads, or flushed the coolant. You won't. Nobody does. That's why smart drivers keep a record, either written down in a glove box journal or stored in a free app like Carfax Care, Drivo, or Simply Auto. The method doesn't matter. Just make sure it's recorded. Because when you don't, things get skipped. Belts wear thin, fluids get overlooked, and small problems grow into $1,200 repairs that a $5 entry could have stopped. And it's not only for your memory. A complete service history raises resale value and provides proof if a part fails under warranty. And if you ever take the car to a shop, the techs will thank you for not making them guess. Want your car to reach 500,000 miles? Track every service, every component, every date. You'll notice patterns sooner and fix issues before they cost you big. Want your car to not only last, but also drive like it just left the showroom? Then tap on this video next. Mechanics hate this reset trick.